Today's episode, we're going to look at how can you save more? How can you apply some cost-cutting strategies? You might be thinking that I really don't earn enough. I'm barely making ends meet. How exactly am I supposed to cut costs any further? In this episode, we're not just looking at how to save more money, how to spend less. We're also looking at some of the mindsets. Like, everything begins in our mind. Once you feel like you cannot save anymore because you're not earning enough, I won't be the one telling you that you can save more. Everything begins in our mind. So in today's episode, I'm also going to share with you some of the ways we can adjust our mindset to be able to save more so that we can use the money saved to attain our goals. Welcome to the Personal Finance and Coffee Podcast. I'm your host, Gabriela. On this podcast, we talk all things money and finances. Learning how to manage our money and make it grow is a skill that can be learned, that we can get better at. In our environment, money is kind of like a taboo topic. So on this podcast, let us have the conversations. Let us dig deep into how does this really work. We're going to have guests and learn from each other. Welcome to today's episode. And today I'm glad that you're spending some time with me. We're going to look at cost-cutting strategies. How do you save more? And everyone says save more, save more. In our economy right now, in Uganda, my goodness, the cost of living has gone high. I think it's worldwide. So this concept of finding ways to save more really is close and dear to my heart because it's something that I also want to get better at. I feel it's something that we all can work towards. So let me share with you some of the mindsets first, and then we'll get into the tips on how you can actually save. So the first mindset that you can look at is that the environment that we are in influences how we spend our money. This goes down to the people that we spend time with and what is normal to them. Because if you're spending time in an environment where people that spend money are the ones that look good, the chances of you saving money will be harder because the environment that you're in actually encourages spending. So as you decide to try and save more, first take a moment and think about the environment you're in. Think about the people that you spend your time with. The second mindset that you can look at is you need to appreciate the value of delayed gratification. These days we're like, I want it now. Like everything is instant. And delayed gratification is not exactly looked at as a good thing. Someone will say that, but for you, they are saving. What if you die tomorrow? Usually me in my mind, I'm like, but what if you live? So you might live and be broke, or you might spend, and you get like, people always feel like delayed gratification sometimes is not worth it. But you can change this mindset shift and you're like, I'm choosing not to spend. I'm choosing to save. It's not that I will not ever go on a trip. It's just not now. I will do it at another point in my life. I'm just delaying it because I want to attain this and then I will do that. So appreciating delayed gratification is a mindset shift that will make it possible for you to save because you realize that delaying my gratification right now from going out to a restaurant, going to a coffee shop. Okay, I'm talking about myself here because I like coffee and going to nice places for coffee. So if I tell myself that, Gabi, if I don't go there now, and I use this, fine, you may think that like a 15K is not much. I use this money to set it aside. It will slowly add up towards the next thing I'm going to do, the next business I'm going to start, or whichever. And the other mindset shift that I think we need to look at is the money is too little. My goal is too big. I can't say I want to buy land and I'm saving 15K. What is 15K on a plot of 100 million? That is how someone else can look at it. And these things add up. When I say that we need to save more money, we need to find ways of cost cutting, it's not the only thing you're going to do. You may not be able to save your way to wealth. Surely you'll need to earn more. That I do not deny. But if you keep looking at it as the money adds up, it makes a difference. You may not necessarily use the money you've saved to buy the land that you want, but you can use the money you've saved to start the business that will then earn the money. Because how will you start the business if you don't even have capital? So this mindset of, no, this money is too little. You'll be like, this money is too little, spend a little here. This money is too little, spend a little there. Before you know it, it has been able to add up, and you've spent more than you actually expected. So that's another mindset that, as you embark on this journey, if you choose to say that, okay, now I want to save more, that you can look at. The other mindset that will really help is being able to appreciate what you have on this journey. Gratitude. This is something that is very, very important, especially in these days of Instagram and statuses and everyone looking like they're living their best life. Appreciating what you have on this journey and saying, I am grateful that I have a house to live in, that I even have a place to go to work, I have a job, or I have a business. Being grateful that your family is well, that you have food to eat, simple things like that. If you have a car, you're grateful that you have a car. It reduces that urge to want to spend, to fill the void. Because sometimes we spend because we feel like we are lacking something and I need to have that thing so that I'll feel better when I have it. But when you're constantly grateful, you're able to gain a level of contentment. Being content doesn't mean that you're stopping to work towards your dreams. It just reduces the urge to spend on things that are really not necessary. So those are some of the mindsets that you can look at and become aware of, so that as you now try to get into the practice of actually cutting your costs and saving more money, you have been able to work on how your mind looks at saving, and then you get into the tips. So let's get into the tips of how to save. Decide on what you're going to use the money for. Decide why are you starting this saving process. 2, decide on where you're going to put that money. Because if you just save, if you say, oh, I've spent less on this, but then at the end of the month, you're like, but I don't see where the money is. You lose morale. You're like, but what's the whole point? So decide on where you're going to put the money. Each time that you save, where will you put it? Either have an account for it, either have a unit trust, or either have a piggy bank for it. You can even have a wooden box. Those boxes they sell, but this time don't break it. I know, I also usually break mine. But decide on where you're going to put it. Now, these are some of the tips that you can now apply now that you know what the money is for and you know where you're going to put it. The first tip that I have for you is to automate your savings. Automate your savings works for some people. It works in the situation where when you look at how much you earn and how much you spend, you can see that you have some money that you can actually save. But in real life, you've not been seeing where the money has been going. On the paper, you do the mathematics and you can say, okay, I can say I can save some money, but usually when the month ends, I don't see where the money goes. Now, if you find yourself in that situation, this is when you go for the automating your savings. Set up a standing order. If you have a checkings account, for example, in Standard Chartered, and maybe you have a unit trust in Britam, set a standing order and you say every month I'm going to transfer 100K from my Standard Chartered to Britam Standard Chartered. Because they're the same bank accounts, it may actually not be as high. I don't even know if there are charges. Because sometimes people are like, no, I don't want to set up a standing order because it costs money and that is money I would have saved. But now this is where when you change it, but then when you look at it, fine, you may spend like a 2K or 3K on that transfer. But when the month ends and you've not sent that 100,000 to your unit trust, you still don't have the 100K. So if setting up that automatic savings actually protects you from yourself so that you're able to set that money aside, you're able to save more. This applies for those who find themselves in such a situation. Now, if you find yourself in a situation where when you do the mathematics, you find that you don't have enough money to set aside, this may not work in this situation. I think it also, automating your savings also works well if you're a salary earner or if you're in business and you know that the sales that you make leave you with that space. The second tip that I have is to go shopping weekly. Grocery shopping. These things for home. Every time you pass by the supermarket, for some reason we always live with something else that we think we need now that we're in the supermarket. But before going to the supermarket, we didn't even think about it. They always come up. So if you go to the supermarket or you go to the market, 3 times in a week, trust me, you're going to spend more than if you go there once a week. So if you make your list and you go to the supermarket or to the market once, you're able to save. Because those little things that now you need, you're like, oh, I feel like chocolate. You know those things they put at the, just before you're paying, at the checkout, they put chocolate and they put, PK. Those little things, just each time you go, you'll end up buying them. The other saving tip that I can share is to invite your friends home rather than going out. If usually on your birthday you go out, you can decide that, oh, you guys, we can come home, have a meal, play some games, rather than going to the restaurant. And then you save money. Another saving tip that I have is to save unexpected money. You know that money you didn't expect. You go somewhere, they're like, oh, they give you money. Depending on where you are, money that you didn't expect, each time that it comes, you can decide that when I get money that I don't expect, I'm going to get 60% of that money and I put it towards my saving, and then I save, and then I can spend the 40%. Because I realize that when I get all the unexpected money and I save it, sometimes I feel bad. I end up backtracking and spending everything. So I need some money to feel like, oh, I got it. It helps me remain on track. Instead of saying that if you get 10K that you didn't expect, for example, instead of getting the whole 10K and put it in your piggy bank or put it in that account that you've set aside, I would rather you get 6K. I'm just using less money. You can apply this to 100K or 200K, depending. Get that 60%, put it on the side, and then the 40% you can spend on what you want. So you're able to save more, because in the past, if you've been spending all the money that you received unexpectedly, this will help you save more. Now, the next tip that I have is to try a no spend challenge. I don't know if you've heard about a no spend challenge. What this is that you can say for the next 1 week or for the next month, I will not spend on these specific items that I've been spending on. So you can say for 1 week, you can say this week, I'm going to go to work and come back home. I will not go out to meet friends. I will just go through that routine. So all that money that you would have spent on other activities, you're able to save it. It shouldn't be ideally for a very long time, because otherwise you start to feel like constrained, you feel like you're not enjoying life. It's a spending challenge is for a short amount of time. And then also the interesting thing about when you try this, I think I'm going to try it. I haven't tried a no spend challenge like intentionally, but I'm going to give it a try and see how it goes. What I got when I was preparing for this episode is that in a no spend challenge, it also helps you to become aware of the things you've been spending on in the past that were out of routine and not because you actually want it. So you can now decide, now that this week has ended, let me reassess. Do I want to go back into spending my money like this, or do I want to change? So it kind of creates a reset, a fresh start feeling. So you can try that. And then the next tip that I have is that you can also save more when you decide that every time you earn more, you're going to increase your savings. Not only to increase your expenses. You know, when you get a salary increase, the first thing you're like, oh, now that I have more money, I can do this, I can do that. And us being humans, it's human nature. The first thing that comes to mind is how you're going to increase your expenses, not necessarily how you're going to increase your savings. So you can also decide that you're going to increase your savings when you earn more money. Like I said, talk about percentages. The concept of unexpected money can also apply to your job or to your business. If you're in business and then maybe you got a deal and you earned more, you can also apply this. The final tip that I have for you is that lists are not only for groceries, they're not only for food. You can also make a list for when you're going to buy clothes. You can say, okay, I want to buy this number of jeans, this number of tops, this number of dresses. You can also move with a list for other items like that. So this will help you avoid buying things you're like, oh, this looks so nice. By the way, I've been needing a pair of sneakers. And so you buy. But if you move with a list and you're like, I need these number pairs of shoes, dresses, tops, sweater, you're able to work within a budget that you've set and reduce the chances of overspending, so you save money. Those are some of the tips that I have. This is not exhaustive. There are so many other ways to save money. Please share your ways in the comments below. I'm excited to learn. I'm also trying to find ways to save money because I am for sure feeling the increase in cost of living lately. So please share with me in the comments below, how do you save money, so that I could try a few as well, and we can share and learn from each other. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you feel like, yeah, I've picked some tips, you can like this video, subscribe so you don't miss the next one. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to listen to this episode. I really do hope that it added value to you. Share it with a friend, share it with a loved one. If you're listening to this on YouTube, leave your comment. What were your thoughts? If you have a different point of view, please share. Let us learn. I'm not there yet and I'm learning as well. You can like, you can subscribe, because we're going to have new content coming to you every week. Bye guys.